SAP have released PIT, the testing tool, which support package 17, and this gives some advantages. Among one is they have a web UI that you can view what's going on in, so you don't need to install the Eclipse unless you want to develop and create new test cases, but in here you can run and execute and view results of these messages. So that means it's easier for businesses to see if anything fails with the test cases. We at Figaf still believe we have some advantages compared to SAP. If you want to be serious about your testing, we do have some real benefits that make it easier for you to manage your SAP PI and obviously CPI, but that's a different discussion. We're able to create test cases on multiple objects at one time, so we can select a number of different icons. We can record messages, group them into a suite directly. We can specify how many messages we want. We can give them messages. We can extract content from these. And that is all you have to do. You will then create a new recording of this. It will then automatically figure out how to add modules if it needs to make modifications in these icons. And then it's just about waiting until these messages have been processed. So let me just get those processed. So now we have processed messages for each of these different items. We are then able to obviously see the payloads. So we can go in, we can view the content of these messages. We have the ability to edit these if we want to. And now we can create a test case based on this. So we simply just select them, create a test case. We can specify where we want to run these systems if we want to, and now it's good to go. Now we can run them on any of the systems in our landscape that follows or has these objects, and we can then simply just press run. This will send the messages through the same way as the PIT tool. Will then get the responses coming back, and we can see the statuses of these messages, so we can view our results, and we can see obviously errors. We have a simple way you can just click and create test cases on this. So it is just like SP have, but a little easier, I guess, to manage. If we want to say and manage these test cases, we also have the ability to say, okay, now this is my new test case. So you just mark this as test case. Next time you run it with this content, it will also be valid, or it will expect the output you got just now instead of the one from the original. So that is also enabling users to make testing a lot simpler and a lot easier to process. And you can see the results of this test here. Then one of the things we also have is we can view our results in an Excel document. So we can create a report that shows all the things that we have tested and everything that's wrong with this test case. So we can see we ran these tests, we got these errors, we can drill into the content of this, and we can see everything that's wrong. So we can actually schedule this event, and we can get this email report every night or once the job is run to see what's going on and what's missing. So that really simplifies the process about running these things at night. We also have the ability to evaluate the modules. So here we have run a test case, we have viewed the results here, and we can see this is view the difference here. We can see it's an artifact message that it is able to ignore certain elements in here, so we can see this is ignored and therefore does not count as a valid error. And it's really simple just to add elements to it. So you can just say we don't want to see at quantity 47, then we will not see any errors on that anymore. So that also simplifies the process. You can be able to test your modules once you're doing the same development. So some other features we have is we have the option to test with confidential data. This is really useful if you have contractors and you don't want them to actually know all about your HR data and stuff like that, or sales data. Then you can use this and say all data from that productive system is confidential. And with that, it means that no one would actually be able to see the payloads of this, so they can just see some scrambled data, which means they will be able to understand the structure and what's going on in it, but they will not be able to see the specific result of this. And if they look at a comparison result, what they will be able to see of these messages is they can see that there was a problem at that specific instance. They know the data and can see the data, but obviously only scrambled data, so they can see there is a name, there is some numbers, but not what there were. And that makes it a lot simpler for you to get developers outside of the organization to test changes or anything like that, because they can just see there's something wrong. And if you have the correct access and authorization, you would be able to, you would get a pop-up that says, hey, unscramble these data. You can then view it and then actually see the specific thing that's wrong. But this is really useful with SOX, GDPR, where you want to make sure that no one's actually able to see what's going on. And then I think the biggest thing that we have is we have the ability to see all the things that's been changed on your system. So we can create transport. So we can create a ticket. So we'll create a ticket with all the test cases we just create. So we'll assign a ticket with the with a specific change. So this could be either a service request or whatever you have that identifies this. You can specify which landscapes you want to run these changes on. And if you have a Jira ticket, a service now, then you can obviously add this and some information about what's going on in this case. With that, you actually now have the ability to see what's being changed in this. We can also add all the dependent objects, so we know everything that's going on in this. We can look up, once we're doing this, we can look up all the different test cases that we have for this. And that means we can actually, from this ticket, run all of the ICOs or all the test cases that we have that is interesting for this. So we can say run on this specific system. We will then get the result and we can see, does this follow what we expect, or are there anything that is bad in this result or in this case? And with that, we're actually able to progress our transports a lot better. And here you can see the same data as we had in the other one. We view results once they've been done. And with that, we have a lot more information about what's going on. We have the ability to create transports of the objects that's been changed, and we have tested and we've proven that these are the things that works. So we have just take a little while for it to create, and then we can transport the different objects that we have together with the directory. So obviously we have a repository, that's pretty simple. We can send it to approval if we want to. We can compare what's actually going to be changed with this and the one we are putting into production. Really simplifies the process. If you're able to approve it, you can just improve it. Otherwise, you need to get someone that has access to approve it. For communication channels, we have the ability for the user to actually specify what communication channels will be in the new system. So we can go in here and specify. Here we can see here we got a value here. This obviously needs to be T, because that's our test system, and the same for production. We will just save it here. So now we have created a change, then means we can validate our transport, see if we have filled in all the necessary passwords. We can send it to approval, and once we have approved it, we can import this on our QA system or test system, and it will then apply all the new configurations that we have done. So that means that the transport is a lot simpler, and your management of all these different objects really is a lot simpler compared to the normal CTS Plus, PI export and stuff like that. And now everything is imported, everybody is happy, we can go back and we can set the ticket to resolve, download a document that shows us what we have done, who has made it, which changes in this. The last thing that the Figaf tool has is it has a much shorter release cycle than SAP, which means we're able to add new functionality a lot simpler, faster, to improve the tool so it's easier for customers to use and make sure they run SAP integration as simple as possible. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that to understand what you think of this. And also, if you have questions or comments, put them below. If you want to try it out, it is really simple to get started. Go to figaf.com/IRT. You can download the tool there and be up and running in less than an hour. It's really simple to run. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.